All right, Joes, welcome back to another episode of the Tactical Perspective. It's a toy review and discussion on the G.I. Joe Classified series, and just a deep personal interest of mine on something that I connect very deeply to my childhood that I collected, and I think a lot of you guys did too, and that's probably why you're watching these videos. And they're back for us as adults, those of us that grew up with these. And so today I'm going to carry on with my second of 3 videos I planned on doing. And today we're going to cover one of the characters I didn't think I was going to pick up, and I wound up picking him up for a different kind of reason. And it's number 58 in the series, BBQ. BBQ was a character that I really had very little interest in collecting with my Joes as a child. And it was for the stupidest of reasons, quite honestly. It was because he was this big, bright orange firefighter. And while I have always grown up with the utmost respect for all emergency response guys, be it firefighter, police, paramedics, what have you, when I did my war fighting with my Joes, I didn't have much room for firefighters. And there was a second reason I actually did not like that action figure as a child, and it was the black hose that connected his foam nozzle to his backpacks. I found that with any Joe that came with these black hoses were problematic for a lot of reasons, and I didn't like that about those figures, so they weren't on my favorites list. So fast forward years later when I start collecting the G.I. Joe Classified, and I see not only is there one, but there's 2 BBQs available. The traditional orange that I remember as a kid, and then this one from somewhere. I have no idea where this color set came from, but it says that he is a Mad Marauder, which is Sergeant Slaughter's outfit. So I assume this might have shown up in the cartoon or in a comic at some point with this color set for Gabriel BBQ Kelly, number 58 in the series. And there you have the side with the primary combat functions, everything he is qualified. And the front art is really just a focus on what seems to be the helmet. Everything seems to be about Gabriel's helmet, so much so that they want you to forget that there might even be a person under there. I think all the focus is on the helmet in the front box art and on the side. Helmet, 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 helmet. But to emphasize an old point I was making about Hasbro's inconsistency with some of this packaging, be it they want to go plastic packaging, then they want to go plastic-free packaging like this, and then they want to go plastic packaging again. And one of the things I was pointing out was naming convention. They have not settled on how they are naming their products. With the Joes, like either you're using their arm indicator or call sign, like BBQ, or you're using their full name, or you're using a combination of both. But it seems Hasbro does not want to commit to one or the other on any given box. So here we have Gabriel BBQ Kelly, just like we had David, Bazooka, Katz, and Logan. But earlier we had Flint and Scarlet. We didn't have Shauna Scarlet O'Hare, and we didn't have Dash L Flint Fairborn, right? We just got those. So I wish they would point out to consistency. I like having the full name and the alias on there if they are known. I don't expect it for guys like Snake Eyes, but I expect it for the rest of them. It'd be nice if they could get consistent with that. It's a little detail. It does nothing to cast a shadow on the overall product. So on the back, you got the digital render of our friend BBQ there with the. He's got his helmet on. You got the green and blue and brown uniform. You've got the foam tanks, the now much superior hose, and we'll talk about that when we look at the figure. You've got the foam nozzle, and then you've got not one but 2 different types of axes. All right, and that is what you get with him. Now, they wanted you to just see that. And you'll notice that there's no weapon with this guy. You can consider the axe as a weapon, but with a firefighter, especially a firefighter of the caliber of Gabriel Kelly, who is from Boston, born into a long line of firefighters, and if the Joes hadn't picked up, he'd probably be fighting a fire right now. Go fuck yourself. 2 axes are tools for him, not just a weapon. Anyways, guys, I know a few firefighters. I have the utmost respect for them, and that's why I was trying to change my perspective and have him back, have another barbecue in my Joe collection. So just repeating the PCFs on the back of the box, but that's pretty much all you need to know about the box on him. The biggest thing we're stressing today is that, and I'm going to talk about it later, is the missed opportunity with this character. They did a great job. I am very happy I got this, but as is my way, I always see a different road they could have gone with, and I think in this case I would have chose the other road. So why don't we turn this around, go over to the figure, have a look. Yeah, he's on one of my new displays, which is what the next video is going to be about. And we'll talk about him a little bit, and we'll do my head-to-toe inspection on this guy, military style, point out the likes, the dislikes, as we go up and down the guy. And then have a bit of a discussion about some of it, give him a playability grade, a tactical grade, and we'll be on our way. Okay, so here, why don't we all head on over there. Oh, I lost my light. That's all right, we'll get it back. Okay, guys, so here we have Gabriel. We'll get that light back on as soon as I can get it plugged back. And in this one, I have, it would appear he's fighting a fire. Oh, isn't that great? All right, so as you can see, I've got him loaded out with all the kit, and all the kit is fully visible with this kind of guy because there's really not a whole lot going on there as far as accessories go. Right, I will show you just really quickly because I skipped over it. He does come with that Pelican case number 58 that does say the full name Gabriel Barbecue Kelly on it. There you go. The weapons are packaged as per the normal wrapping paper, which for some reason I keep. I'm insistent that I'm going to do something with that for some reason. And then instead of having the facial blow up like they do on some of them with the plastic free, they went with the old Joe logo. So that's all there was on the box that I missed telling you about. So if we have a look at our friend here, Gabriel, and he's fighting a small fire inside our training structure. You can see this helmet is a nice, I want to call it like a royal blue. And it's broken up beautifully by that metal face mask, which frames those reflective black reflective black visor. So we'll just get a nice look on there. You got some ventilation up there. This reminds me a lot of the, for some reason, of a Monty Python Joe. In that I think of the Black Knight. And maybe it's the way that the helmet just is domed. The helmet they've chosen, it's definitely not a Cobra helmet. Like, I know this is a Joe guy. And it is a cool looking helmet. But for some reason, I just can't get this medieval image out of my mind when I look at them. So articulation wise, because you got that high neck guard and a lot of armor plating on the back of the cradle part of your head there, his head up down articulation is pretty limited, but the side movement, up down articulation is very limited because of this ridge, right, and the neck. But the side movement is fine. And then you got the little left-right play there. And that's about all you're going to do with that. Let me get that back on him. I'm not a big fan of this clip, but I don't think I would have had a better system in mind. But yeah, the clip for the axe is a bit of a sore up point for me, but not too much. Anyways, so as we work our way down, you can see that neck is a part of a larger chest piece that is designed to fit over top. He puts it on over his head and is definitely connected to those foam tanks on the back. As you can see, he's got a slot with some cabling going up, right? So that you can tell that that's all meant to be, that's like a load-bearing system for his tanks. And then you can see where some of those lines would come up and into his, you can notice up the neck and all that other stuff. So you can accept that is part of his, more part of his backpack and body armor than anything else. But it does range motion. It does cause a bit of limit in some of the range of motion. And definitely, you can definitely see that this huge chest rig is what's going to keep you from having a lot of forward bend over motion. Like, he can bend over a bit, but not as much as, say, a gung ho or another more articulate figure where it's not a second layer completely around the torso. And I've talked about that in other videos. That's the trade-off. As you get into more detail, more layers, you'll get into some articulation issues. And there is the repetitive one about the backpack peg, which we can go around to after I just talk about the tank on the front. I believe that would be his air supply, his filtration system, so he can breathe, despite the chemical environment a fire presents on top of a heat threat. And then I'm not sure what's going on with these pouches. These look like really good mag pouches, but considering he doesn't have a gun, I'm not quite sure what the intent for those were. But I do think that those are the kind of pouches I've been asking for other characters to have when their mags are anything but a NATO stock M16 style. I think especially with the pulverizer, which is Duke and Stalker's gun, we need mag more like this, more mag mag holders like these. But for some reason, BBQ has them, and that's fine. You'll notice we've got a lot of color going on here. We've got the blue, we've got the black, we've got the silver. Now we're into a green over a brown green or a brown, right? And then the black again, and then we're going back down. This is the armor completing itself. He is wearing a full body plate over his torso and crotch, or groin region, I guess. And then his arms are protected with those thick gloves. We've got that pin system. It's not hidden. You can see the pins in the joints on this one. And considering it's a newer figure, I don't know where they prioritized what they wanted to do with BBQ, but it's a newer re-release, I should say. The older one was part of the Viper Island, and that's probably why the pins are now still exposed. Sorry, I'm just going to reset him. But yeah, I guess that's probably the explanation we're looking for. This did come out earlier in the line. It's just a re-release. So that backpack is a nice one, and it does have that peg issue I talked about, where you have to make sure that those two holes line up to get that thin line peg in there. And you can see I've managed to do that, and there's a bit of gap right there. So I'm kind of wondering why it is that Hasbro does the second layer where the hole is almost the exact same diameter, putting that pressure on the peg, on the post ridge, and why they don't go with a slightly larger hole to allow for the flexibility issue to resolve, so you're not having to line these pieces up as much. These pieces, the chest and the under, like the actual chest piece, and then the layer. Trying to line those holes up. If you had a larger second hole, it would allow you to bend the figure more and not have an issue with the backpack post per se. There goes that axe again. Let's just put that down by his feet, and I'll just show it to you now. So as I said, he comes with two axes. We were getting close to the hips anyway. So here's the one that keeps falling off as the harness. I'm not a big fan of the clip harness they've used for it, but I am a fan of that axe. It is a nice little fire axe with the knuckle protectors. Like, you could see him breaking wood and timber or Cobra helmets with this, no problems. And then he's got the second axe in his hand, which I put in backward. Like, you can see the grip. I put his hand at the rear grip because I had him beating down this door, ready to fight the fire. He's got a holster for the nozzle gun, and the nozzle gun there. And I'm going to talk about this hose in a second, but here's the problem piece that I was referring to with the axe. It's a clip-in like that. So it's really kind of reliant on a bit of pressure to kind of hold this in. And I'm sure there's other theories on how that's supposed to go, but that's the way I interpreted the box art to show it. And so when you're leaving it alone, it's fine. But you know me, guys, I never leave anything alone. And as soon as I don't, that's when funny stuff happens, like breaking things, dropping things, losing things, coffee spilling, all that stuff. Anyways, that hose, I'm going to try and get us a closer look at that hose for a sec here. So if you have a look at those clamps, that's a much better version of the hose than what we were seeing in 1982, 3, 4, 5, 6 and up. You've got that ribbed hose, which definitely looks like it's a supply line for either a fuel or a solvent or something, the foam. And then, like I said, those clip lines. And so the way those work, guys, is it's exactly like Lady J's spear I guess would be my most immediate relevant point. But if you have a look at the back, right, so it's a ball bearing at the end of a post, which creates a socket, and it pops in, pops out. So careful, though, not to do that. Anyways, that's far superior to what we were dealing with barbecue back in the day, back in the 1980s. So I was really happy to see that kind of a correction get made. As you work your way down, he's got those knee pads. For some reason, the blue repeats right at the bottom. Why not? Colors, 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 colors. And then boots, which I kind of feel these boots don't make as much sense as other types of, I feel like his boots should be a lot thicker for a fire dude. Those don't look like they offer much in the way of thermal protection, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like we've seen other guys with thicker boots that would probably provide better protection somewhere down the road. Even Cobra Commanders, like high hip waiter boots over here, I think they even look a little bit more fire resistant than those. But I mean, that's just an opinion. Nonetheless, that's what you're getting. And this is a figure that comes in on your average Joe cost. So up here in Canada, when I say the average Joe cost, it's like $35.99, right? So I don't know what you guys are paying in the States for them. And I've seen some videos where, you know, getting him was way too easy like it is up here, and others where some states have had an issue with him. I don't know where the issue was. Up Canada, up in Ottawa, Toronto, and Quebec, where I've seen them. He's a peg warmer, and I've actually seen him on clearance in some areas. I didn't get him on clearance. I wasn't quick enough for that, but yeah, not a problem for us to get here. So on a playability grade, guys, I'm not going to hold any bias against him at all for playability on him not coming with a gun. I think if he came with a sidearm or a rifle, I think I would need an extra head. For sure, that helmet would have to be able to come off. I would have to see Gabriel Kelly, whose secondary qualification is an infantry, and he's a morale boost kind of guy. He's the life of the party, and he's bringing the Joes on. So I think they missed an opportunity with a second head sculpt where he could take the helmet off, maybe even take that whole chest part off, like this blue piece clean off. I don't know. And then he would serve possibly with his secondary duty as an infantry with a small weapon. And that would lend some playability and diversity to his character with just those little tweaking. Now, is it a far cry from what the original did? Well, not really. I mean, like, the original had stuff on there you don't do anymore. But like the bracketed tank, you've made one piece. So make his helmet two piece. I don't know. I think we had a missed opportunity in giving Gabriel his second head and possibly a pistol or a small rifle that could have clipped on somewhere. Because basically he's going to go in, he's going to fight the fire, and then he's going to either get close combat bloody, which is traumatic, or he is going to leave. Because he doesn't need to be a liability out there for guys. He's there to fight the fires. I don't see him spraying a whole lot of foam in guys' eyes. So, on the playability though, like I said, I'm not going to dock him for the weapon or the helmet. I'm going to grade him as he is. And as a firefighter action figure, this guy's actually a solid A. The axes are cool. They work with the character. The nozzle gun is a far, far superior version of what I saw when I was a kid in the orange 80s with this guy. I would have preferred having the orange one just because it was the original, but it's not what was available to me, so I got this one. But going on to that, so playability, I'm going to give it that A+. Even though he's got a little bit of articulation issues, you saw how easily this worked. And currently that's just really just one other character's accessory, and that is Scrap Iron's drone blast effects. So he's good for storytelling, diorama, playability, solid A. On the tactical side, for a firefighter, he is coming pretty much the way you'd want to see him. As far as kit, not really sure about the mag pouches. The second axe, sure, he's got the way to extinguish a fire. And I don't know if you can hear that out there, but speaking of ways to extinguish a fire, it's a monsoon rainstorm out there. And it's a really good little system. So tactically, he looks like he's sitting around an A. What I will dock him for is their color choices to make him like this fit in with the infantry kind of green brown, worked in with the blue. It's almost like they're going for a tri-element, like Air Force, Navy, and Army, all reflected in one firefighter, because they used up the orange color and didn't almost have an idea of what would be best. Like, sure, if this is what popped up in the 80s as a color scheme, I get it, because back then they were into bright colors popping and doing things like that, but also weird colored schemes. But think about it. This is an emergency worker. Like, he's a firefighter. If anything, you want to be able to spot this guy where he is at all times and run towards him. So, of course, orange is the way to go. After that, I'd be choosing things like white, yellow, bright blue, even a light gray. Any of those would be justifiable for, say, working on an aircraft carrier or in a base. What they've got going on with this color scheme just seems like he's trying to do something tactical and forestry and naval and too many things going on there. So I'm going to dock him on my tactical side. I'm just going to bring him down to a solid B+, because everything else is great. And I'm just a critical dick. But that's it for him, guys. So solid A, solid B. What can you say about it? Is he my favorite, Joe? No, clearly he wasn't. That's why I left him to the end. And now he'll fall apart on me. He is the last of the regular series that I needed to pick up for right now. I'm still trying to track down a few strays like Beachhead, but I don't think I'm ever going to get a Beachhead at a reasonable price up here in the north. But hey, guys, in the comments, let me know, what about that in the States? I see a lot of you are down in the south. Which are the characters that you guys are having a hard time getting a hold of down there in the old stock? Or what was notoriously hard? Or what do you still have an abundance of? Like, I'm thinking one of these days I might hop across the old Thousand Island Bridge, head down to New York State, do a day shop, and love to know if you guys have alley vipers and all the other little ones that I was looking for. Like, we can't get a lot of the Army Builder stuff up there, and the alley viper was one that just recently came off Amazon right before I was about to order myself a pair. So, what do you guys have shipping issues with this last batch, right? Or did you guys have any worth noting? Are you guys just going to get way better than we are up north? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, hit like. If you really like it, hit subscribe. I'm happy to have you guys here. It's fun to talk about this stuff. And if you guys want to talk a little bit about the, oh my God, who did we just do? BBQ? Do so in the comments. I mean, just because I wasn't a big fan of the character doesn't mean I don't love firefighters and all the other emergency services and I didn't respect the character. I did. I respected him so much that I loved they threw his name on the box. I respected him so much that I wished you could see his face. And that he could serve more purposes. But great figure. Let me know what you think. Anyways, we'll see you next time. The next video, guys, is going to be another one of my background display videos. I built a lot for the Joe stuff, as you can see, just for shits and giggles. So we'll see you next time.